Underwood. Thin ice. Ha! How about that intro? Ha ha! Keep it 4 seconds. That's pretty good. All right, Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 246, nearing the quarter century mark. Well, no, that's not right, because a century is 100. You fucking idiot. That's
I'm like an
embarrassing.
F-bomb in the first 5 seconds. Good
A
stuff.
quarter, not even about the game. A quarter of the way to 1,000 we're coming up on. Do you think we'll ever get to 1,000?
No.
Okay.
We'll shut her down by then.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, it's Friday evening, and Illinois lost last night. Less than 24 hours ago, they lost to Maryland. Brad Underwood now, 3-8 against Maryland? I don't know what he is against Willard. He might be 1-3 against Willard.
That might be right.
They won last year at Maryland, and then they lost to them in Champaign twice now. And I guess this is year 2 for him, so maybe it's just 1-2. But either way, it's just one of those things. I guess not year 3, sorry for him, but one of those things. It's tough.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's 5:00. I needed a drink for this one, so cheers to everybody out there besides Ethan.
Yep.
Illinois looked bad. Looked real bad against Maryland. It just seems to happen every time. You text me what the spread was going to be. I text you back and said it would be an awful loss, and it wasn't so much Illinois losing. It's that I knew Michigan State fans were just foaming at the mouth for this loss for Illinois. So they got to go crazy. This team saw a lot of hype coming in. I mean, you lost to Michigan State. Everybody said you were still the better team. I saw people putting them in their Final Four, and then you just go out here and just lay an egg against Maryland. You let Reese and Queen just dominate you. Julian Reese, it seemed like that was their go-to off the beginning, and then Derek Queen kind of got mixed up in there also. Thought it was interesting that Brad had Merez on Julian Reese and Hummer on Derek Queen. It didn't seem to matter who was on Reese. He was getting buckets left and right along with Derek. Those two combined for 52 points. I believe there were 60 plus in the paint for Maryland in this game. 27 for Reese, 25 for Derek Queen. 4 assists, 2 steals to go along with Queen's points. And then Reese had 17 rebounds and 3 blocks. So missing your center, Tommy, is sick. Brad said that he shouldn't even played in the Michigan State game. Sounds like they don't know when they're going to get him back either. So we'll see what happens there. But it's hard to defend this team, and I know that the Euros mean a lot to this team, but if you have Tommy out and you just don't show up, I think it says more than just we're missing a guy. So
I think it would be very easy for us to come on here today and freak out and say, is this team even going to make the tournament? Because that's what a lot of people would do. Because hang on.
Is this team going to be a 9 seed or worse? Might be.
No, we're not even going to have that discussion, because there's a lot of people out there who do these things just to get views and stuff, and I'm not doing that. I don't think it's fair to not criticize this team, but I also think it's unfair to sit here and not give any credit to Maryland, which I think we have to, because if you look at the things they were doing, Illinois had no chance to rebound the ball offensively. Maryland was there for the board every time. Queen is a really talented, smooth, good player.
So talented.
And that was obvious. And then Reese kills him. And Julian Reese has played a lot of college basketball. This is year 4, but it's also year 4 of being a guy who the last 3 years has played a ton of minutes for them. And he played plenty in his freshman year as well. So he's seen it all. He's been really good against Illinois. Illinois had no chance. Humrickhouse is just not built to defend those guys. And Jake Davis obviously is not built to defend those guys. And Kerry Booth is not built to defend those guys. Merez is really the only one, and that's tough to ask a freshman to guard a guy like Reese, who has been doing it for a long time and is a little. They're the same height, but Reese a little bit thinner. So it's a tough ask.
Reese does look bigger than what he has been too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's put on some muscle. So
Yeah, he's listed at 6'9", 252 on KenPom, which is 3 pounds less than Merez. So, which I think Merez is a little bigger than 255. But anyway,
yeah.
I think the most disappointing part of this game for Illinois is how their guards played. And Kaspers is a freshman. I understand that, but he's an NBA level freshman who you need to show up in a game like this. And his offense just wasn't there. Like, there were some things that he needed to clean up. 7 turnovers is tough, but we went into the game saying, I had it right here. They forced a lot of turnovers, Maryland, and Illinois had plenty of them. They had 16 of them. Maryland only had 7. And then you look at like a guy like Kylan Boswell. It's hard that you have a junior who's played a lot of college basketball, and just it's not the fact that Boswell had 5 turnovers. I think it's the turnovers that he had. Like, they're so
it's
avoidable.
The way he turns the ball over. Yeah. The one where he got it poked out from behind. He doesn't seem to ever go at full speed when they're on a break. And then like Kasper's just holding the ball, just had one knocked out of his hand. It's just things like that where an experienced team like Maryland and some good guard defenders can abuse you. And, Brad did blame that a little bit on not having Tommy. I mean, Brad said he wasn't going to make any excuses afterwards. He said Maryland whooped their ass, I think was his specific wording on that. But like he ended up making a ton of excuses. So, but he did say, he said that, Tommy can force those guards to play off a little bit more. Tommy is the brains behind the defense is what he kept saying also. So, it was just tough. 16 turnovers, 10 steals for Maryland. Your 2 guards had 12 of those 16 turnovers. It's tough.
Well, Underwood, by the way, is 1-3 against Willard. I believe 1-2. I don't know if they played. It might be 1-1 at Maryland, 0-2 at home against Willard. In that era. So that's tough. That's one of those teams. Brad 3-8 overall, didn't do well against Turgeon, 2-5 against him. So it's a tough way to play. I will say Maryland is a pretty good team. There's no doubting that in my opinion. They have an older roster and they have a really, really, really good freshman big. And it's a harder matchup or a harder team to plan for, especially when you are dealing with what Illinois was dealing with, which was their center being out, and then your other center, your other big man is a freshman, and then you have another guy who's 6'10", but a sophomore, and obviously not built to rebound the basketball at a high level against physicality. Humrickhouse just isn't built to guard those guys, like I said. Jake Davis, obviously 6'6" and only a sophomore as well. So I think this was a really, really bad matchup for Illinois. I think you could even argue that with Evistic, this is still a hard matchup for Illinois with the way these two teams are built, but it's way worse when you don't have him because you're just I don't even know what you do. Like, do you run a zone the entire game? I don't know, because Jacoby Gillespie shoots at 44% from 3, and Rodney Rice and Selton Miguel are both capable of making them. So I don't think this was – I think you could argue, and I know this is going to sound like, oh, you're saying that because they lost by 20. Maryland is one of the harder matchups for Illinois in terms of personnel, I think, just because of the 2 bigs. And if they run their offense with the 2 bigs like this, why have they been doing this the entire year? Like, there's no reason for Reese and Queen against most teams to not put up 20-plus points in the Big Ten, at least. I will say this really concerns me for when Illinois plays Michigan. That's going to be a brutal matchup, I think, for Illinois. And that's probably why I'll say it right now. Illinois, be prepared for them to lose a game to Michigan this year for the first time in forever, because I just don't think that's going to be a good matchup either. And it becomes even worse when your guards play like this. Like Trey White, I think they said was sick. He didn't have a horrible game, but there's a lot of stuff where it's like the hero ball thing from Trey White. If anybody on this team's going to play hero ball, it should be Kaspers. I don't think anybody should, but if it is, it's going to be him. Trey White, a couple of really unnecessary forced shots. And it doesn't help that, like, the refs didn't do a very good job. The refs are not the reason at all, but they just didn't do a very good. Like, there's so many obvious, like, 2 instances right in front of their fat faces where the ball goes out on Maryland. Clearly, would you watch the fucking hand and they call it Maryland's ball? That's just stupid.
Yeah, the foul on Merez. Illinois had the lead then, and then I think after that foul, Maryland goes on an 8-0 run. I mean, just timely things that, it doesn't affect the end outcome, but it does affect the play at the time. So Hinkle says Ben can handle Wolf better than either of Maryland's bigs. I agree with that also.
Yeah, but then you have Golden, who's having a huge season, so that'll be an interesting matchup for Tomislav. It's different. It's a different type of 2 bigs.
Yeah,
but I still think that's a difficult matchup for Illinois. And Wolf is an NBA guy probably, and obviously Queen. I mean, Queen should be a lottery pick. I think just the way I know the NBA is moving away from some stuff, but I mean,
yeah. I went into Ant Wright's halftime thing, and he had some guy named Joe that's an Illinois fan on there. If Joe listens to this, sorry. But he asked if Dairy Queen was a freshman, like he wasn't a McDonald's All-American. You should probably know that. And then he said, I hope he doesn't get bad advice and decides to go to the NBA next year. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody has him in the top 20. Like, if you don't think that he was a dominant basketball player last night, I don't think he had any mistakes. And he was even switching off on guards. He might have got burnt once or twice, but he played really good defense against guards. Kaspers thought he could do a step back against him. Dairy Queen was in his face, made him airball it.
He's 17th on Hoops Hype. That
Yeah.
just dropped a couple days ago. Kaspers is 5th. Yeah, I mean, you just look at there's apparently I don't know if this Hoops Hype, I don't know if it's based off of their rankings for the best ranking and the worst ranking, but it says his best rank is 6th. So,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, so one of ESPN, CBS, The Athletic, Bleacher Report, Babcock Hoops, USA Today, NBADraft.net, SB Nation, and FTW have him 6th. One of those, I don't know who, but
Okay.
so there you go. And the Big Ten, this is a pretty high level of freshman NBA Big Ten talent. You have Harper, Bailey, Kaspers, I guess Will Riley's somewhere in there. I mean, he can still improve his draft stock. He'll probably be a first-round guy just because of the raw talent. Queen is another guy that's there. And for college basketball as a whole, there's a lot of NBA guys. So I think that's good for the sport, some would say. And Yegor, our former future Illini Yegor, is going to be an NBA guy as well, probably, even though he's not a little disappointing this year, but that's fine. Good to BYU.
Yeah. Cheesang says, do you think the Big Ten refs are taking it out on Bradford, calling them out twice in 2 games?
In the heat of the moment, I felt that, but it's probably not true. But it did feel weird. Like there's some stuff where it's like, man, that doesn't seem like a hard call.
Yeah. Hinkle says, not running a second defender for all post centuries in the second half is indefensible. Don't double off Gillespie and make Rice and company make shots. Yeah, I know Brad, and you just said it. I mean, Maryland can shoot the leather off the ball, according to Brad. He said it was a kind of pick your poison thing, but they went 3 of 12 from 3. They weren't shooting the leather off the ball in this game. Gillespie hit 1 3, maybe, or did he hit 2?
Yeah, he hit 1. Nobody hit more than 1.
That was against the zone where he took probably a 25-footer for 3.
Well, I guess going into the game based on the scout, you have Gillespie 44%, you have Rice 39%.
Your scout goes out the 35%. Door when they score 68 points.
Well, obviously.
Like Brad ran a zone in this game. And
when you know
to run a zone when you don't ever practice a zone was brutal, because for some reason Boswell comes out and guards the point and just leaves Reese wide open underneath the basket when he's supposed to be playing the middle of that. It was shockingly unsettling that Brad wasn't either trying to stop guards from getting downhill or doubling the post. I think they doubled the post one time and Dairy Queen chucked it out of bounds into like the 3rd row. I think they did it one time. So
that's a mistake that he made. You said he didn't make any mistakes.
Okay, he made one.
Got him.
Maryland fans were shocked their coach convinced them not to take threes. Really?
I'm going to say something that you might get triggered by, so be prepared. And we'll talk about Hummer more later, but I just want to say this about Hummer. How do I put this? I would say an indefensible game from him, but it's also not entirely his fault. I would say. I mean,
Okay.
He scored 0 points. Like
He got 3 shots up.
I know he needs to get the ball more. That's why I said it's not entirely his fault.
Well,
Defensively, it's a terrible matchup, but also 0 points.
I don't feel like they do a very good job of trying to get him open, but that's me. But yeah, he had 3 wide open threes. He's got to make one of those. I will 100% agree with that. He had a terrible assignment on the defensive end. He ended up having 2 blocks this game. So like you can't expect Hummer to guard either of those guys.
See, guys, he's so blinded by his love for Hummer that even when I add something onto the end of it that it's not his fault, that it was a bad matchup, he says the exact same thing. But anyway, that's fine.
True. You're right.
And I think as a Hummer apologist that you are, you need to you should be annoyed that people kept trying to compare his game to Damask because he's not like Damask at all. Damask is better and more polished, and which is crazy to me that Damask got no NBA love at all, and Hummerhouse is, which is fine. They both should. But Damask was really, really good for Illinois last year from January on.
How many times did they have Hummer try to back somebody down? Twice this game? I think he got an assist on one.
And he's just, even when he is doing it, he's just not as effective as Damask was.
It's true. Yeah. At this point, won't even take Sad Coleman back for Hummer.
I don't think we need to talk about Coleman. Come on.
I thought this team was an elite shooting team. Yeah,
that's the thing that concerns me the most.
Been struggling in Big Ten play.
If I could choose one thing about this team right now, they have to start shooting better from 3.
I guess the other part of it, they took 28 this game. Kerry Booth took 5 of them, and Jake Davis took 5 of them. So you have Jake Davis and Kerry Booth taking more than a third of your threes.
Both capable shooters, no doubt.
But they both made one, so I guess it's okay. But I did not hate Kerry Booth taking them. Jake Davis seems to try to get his shot up a little quicker than maybe he should. He doesn't look set sometimes. I feel like a lot of this team doesn't look set or even have a handle on the ball sometimes when they're shooting threes because they want to get it up so quick. But yeah, 10 from those guys. I didn't expect to see that in this game. So
props to Booth. Kid's not afraid to fire it. It was a terrible spot for him too. Like this to be the game that you played 13 minutes. Terrible spot. Especially when the guy's 6'10" and 100 pounds. I mean, that's just
he came in, got the team's first offensive rebound, and then almost threw it away.
Didn't know what to do with the ball, yeah.
You can see why Kerry Booth doesn't play. He had 1 rebound in 13 minutes. He's 6'10". He's not strong enough, in my opinion. But again, nobody was. Merez didn't have an offensive rebound this game. So 1 game shooting over 35% from 3. This team was built to be a great shooting team. It's February. They're not turning into one. Yeah, and what's kind of crazy though is they were getting open looks at the hoop. They ran that runoff with Trey White. I think he scored back to back on that. They were finding holes in the defense, but they just don't that's not what their offense is built for. And again, Tommy being out probably affects that a little bit too. It just kind of throws everybody off. So, you can't have your 2 guards turn the ball over 12 times.
They don't shoot enough threes.
More threes. Brad said they're going to keep shooting them, so don't worry about that, guys.
By the way, the one game that they did shoot over 35% from 3, they also they shot 34% against that one team that they played. I can't remember who now, but they did shoot 30. I think it was maybe Indiana. They shot 34% or something.
Yeah. He was asked about shooting 30% in Big Ten play. And he said, quote, maybe they will quit guarding us and let us shoot them. We got to keep shooting them. The thing we didn't do tonight was rebound them.
That's fair, but also, do you want to be Indiana?
Did you expect to get a lot of rebounds with your tallest guy being 6'10" Kerry Booth, and you got Dairy Queen and Julian Reese down there? I don't know.
second in offensive.
They were only out rebounded by 4 rebounds. It's not like it was.
They didn't get any early though.
That's true. I don't think they had 1 in the first half, 2 in the first half.
Yeah, and the game where Illinois shot over 35% from 3 was against Oregon. They shot 55%. So that's one that you could almost throw out just because are they ever going to go 16 for 29? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when like Kasparas, Hummer, Trey White, Boswell, your four of your starters that took threes, they go 2 for 13.
Yeah.
Kasparas and Hummer didn't even make one. So not good. Troubling. Not good.
Illinois was totally outweighed and outmuscled. Lucky for them, they didn't meet in that Pizza Hut parking lot. Yeah. They were definitely they were the team that didn't want to look like they wanted to be there, and Maryland did. And I don't want to make excuses. That's what Brad said, but like Trey White was sick, Will Riley was sick. You think that Will Riley still was feeling something, probably because this is a game where Will Riley probably should have played 25 plus minutes, and he didn't. I didn't even think he was going to come back in the second half. So didn't have those guys in practice. Tommy's apparently not been to practice since the Michigan State game. A lot of things out of whack for this. So you hope the team gets healthy, and you hope you see that spark that we've seen in the Penn State game, which didn't have KJ, correct? The Indiana game, stuff like that comes.
Does it bother you on Twitter when Illini fans are bitching nonstop about how this team sucks? This team is quote unquote cooked. And by the way, I think the term cooked is probably a bit played by now with the younger generation. I mean, congrats. Great word. Come up with another one. And I don't understand why the sky has to be falling. Like, okay, little adversity. You lost 3 of 4. You got to figure it out. Brad Underwood hasn't lost back-to-back games since the Meyer-Shannon team in 23, which that is very concerning to me, that this team has lost 3 of 4, because that tells me I'm not sure we're getting to the second weekend this time. But hey, I'm not going to say that it's impossible. I'm not going to stick a label on them like Jeffrey and others would. And it really fucking bothers me that there's people in the media space that use Illinois for clicks. And I think there's a few that obviously I'm talking about right now. It bothers me because I feel like we know our team better than they do, and it pisses me off that they try to throw. Like, I'll say this: they get clicks, so it works, but it bothers me.
Well, it's because Illinois fans are psychos.
Illinois fans, like, they need to fucking relax. Okay, think about where they were 7 years ago. I
agree.
I understand that they haven't gotten to the Final Four, the whole thing. It's understandable. Being relevant matters, and this program is about as relevant as it's been in the last 20 years, which I think is a great thing. And obviously, you want to take steps further. And it is great to see that the fans have quote-unquote passion when they get murdered in a game like this. That's fine. But I'm so tired of the bitching. Like, oh, Brad's not a Final Four coach. Brad's not a good enough coach for this team. Fuck off. And the stubborn comments I see. Like, and then they're talking about one person specifically tweeted something to the effect of Illinois making an in-game adjustment alert or something. Great. What a take. I mean, who cares? Stupid. They're not by 20 anyway. It didn't matter. Like, Illinois never makes in-game adjustments. I'm not convinced that that's the case. They've done they've done plenty of things in the past 8 years that have resembled an in-game adjustment. And there's nothing stubborn about the way Brad Underwood approaches himself as the leader of the program. Maybe as a coach, it's a little bit different. But, and I don't know if you saw the Illini Wood tweet about the woke Big Ten trying to, or the woke University of Illinois trying to prevent Brad from yelling at the team. True. Good troll tweet. And by the way, somebody named Percy, who's just blinded by his rage. I mean, if you look at this guy's tweet, responded to that tweet, which is clearly a joke, trolling. Whenever you say that, whenever you use the word woke, it's usually a joke. Those things happen to rhyme. But he said something like "fuck off" to this guy, this Illini guy who tweeted that as a joke. Percy, you fuck off, bitch, fucking loser.
All right,
but that's just it's a tough it's tough to lose because the worst part about Illinois losing is just having to look at the mindless posts on the internet from these people. They're so stupid. The Facebook group is full of the dumbest fucking people who probably worked these jobs where they could just do nothing for 20 years and then retire so they could make these stupid posts and show how fucking stupid they are.
It's crazy because like Twitter is like 25-year-old trolls and Facebook's like 75-year-old morons.
And this other person on Twitter last night who I was fighting with on both accounts, this fucking prick, a coach calling himself a coach. You can't be that you can't be that reactionary and call yourself a coach. Yeah. Probably not a very good coach if you're that reactionary. What did he say? He said something. Let's see. Here we go. Where is he at?
MySpace is a music page now, Wally.
He said team sucks. He said team sucks, overrated. I said unfollow us, which he did. Thank God. What a fucking loser. And then Hinkle just trying to, spread the
literally we're fighting.
He tagged me.
I know he did.
This team is anointed something more than it was. Credit to me for saying winning games matter at some point, which is true, by the way. Thank you. And then he said apparently he's the only one who can have the opinion the makeup of this team sucks. How the fuck does the makeup of this team suck? Please tell me. If the makeup of this team sucks and you're 9th in the net in January right now, you're probably not doing something wrong with the makeup of your – in certain matchups, sure, that happens to everybody. Everybody fucking does that. I mean, UConn lost to Creighton last year before they won the national championship. Is that, UConn, the makeup of their team sucks because they lost a game or two. Like UConn this year. UConn's definitely getting to the Sweet 16 this year. There's no fucking doubt in my mind. And this moron thinks the makeup of this team, if having like 5 potential NBA guys mean the makeup of your team sucks. I mean, what a fucking loser. And then I said, no, it fucking doesn't on my account because I was tagged in the other tweet. So then it got confusing. And then it sure as hell ain't the makeup of a Final Four team, which some were saying team is underachieving. I will grant you that being 5-4 in the Big Ten right now might be a bit of an underachievement.
It's not a good look.
That's fair. But also, please fucking tell me what the makeup of a Final Four team is. I'd love to know. Because there's maybe like 3 right now that I'm like, yeah, that's the makeup of it. What does that even mean?
It's true.
It's
true.
Fuck this guy. And I said it was a phenomenal take. And you said, I'm confused. You're fighting with this guy on both counts. Yeah. So what? All right. Fuck that guy. He's a loser. What an absolute loser.
All right. Well,
congrats to Khalil Ware on being the favorite for NBA Rookie of the Year, former Indiana Big Ten stand-up. Big Ten is just generating Big Ten prospects left and right. See that shooter that Bosnian shooter that Indiana landed.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he still comes after Woodson's gone. But
shoots 48% from 3 overseas. He'll probably shoot 20% at Indiana.
Ronnie says, love Illini, been a fan since the 60s. Only thing, the expectation was so high. So sad to see them not playing to their ability. So on that, again, KJ, I think Brad said KJ's played 54% of the minutes in conference play right now, which is crazy. Tommy's out. Guys are sick. I think we were on this is going to be a roller coaster type year, right? I mean, you thought they'd go 16-4 in the Big Ten, but
they would if there weren't injuries. They still can.
But I know that there is a ton of talent on this team. I think expectations changed when Illinois blows out a team, but seeing the USC loss, losing that game to Northwestern, out the gate, I think expectation, some people might have thought they were might have set them too high, but
well, on that, I think you're getting sucked into the modern media machine, which is full of a bunch of fucking assholes who have to form these super high opinions of everybody after every fucking game.
Yeah, and it was at I think that the expectations after the Michigan State game for some reason rose higher. And people were saying they might be a 2 or a 3 seed, and this is a team that we thought would be a 4 to 6 seed, and that's
still can
probably
be
where they're sitting at right now.
Yeah, they will be. Actually, I'll say this right now: Illinois is going to be a 1 seed.
Carl says 16-4 seems impossible.
No, they win 11 in a row.
It does. This sickness after Christmas break happens to the team every year. Yeah. I think there's only one guy we haven't talked about, and it was our player of the game, DGL, player of the game. 22 minutes, 5 for 8, 2 for 4 from 3, 3 for 4 from the line, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 0 turnovers for DGL. DGL, I know he's not a point guard, but he's probably playing.
This is
taking care of the ball the best out of everybody right now that handles the ball.
The minutes between DGL and Boswell got to like here. This 22 for DGL, 25 for Boswell. Very close. He was very good. The only player that played an efficient game for Illinois. I mean, he shot 5 for 8 from the field, made 2 of his 4 3-point attempts. One of them was banked in, pretty lucky, but had an assist, had a steal. I mean, needs more minutes, I guess. Right? I don't really see how he should be the highest minute getter off the bench right now, outside of, I guess, Merez could be similar if Tommy's playing, I guess. But I still don't think there's any reason. There is, to me, and it's kind of a Brad being a veteran coach, he's not going to do this anyway, but I just want to say there's no reason for Boswell to not be starting over DGL right now. He should be. DGL off the bench, to me, is exactly where he should be.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Just the type of player he is, it just makes too much sense for him to not be a guy that you bring in first off the bench.
Spark plug, yeah.
And he shouldn't. Like, why would you bench Boswell now? It doesn't make any sense. And Boswell also, like,
it wasn't a terrible game.
No, like, the turnovers were bad, but overall, 14 points, 9 rebounds from
9 rebounds
6'2" guard.
For 6'2" is phenomenal when nobody else on the team was rebounding.
And 33% from 3, 1 for 3.
Yeah, step back travel, but we'll count it.
Well, what's his face got away with like 8 steps on that one play.
Gillespie traveled so many times. We didn't
have to complain about illegal screens in this game. That's a win.
That's true. Brad did say about Boswell, he said, quote, he's better with KJ. He's better with Tommy. Again, we didn't have Tommy. KJ has played 54% of the minutes going into league play tonight. We have to find a way to get whole again. Kylan has to not turn the ball over. Would be nice. He has 10 or 11 in the last 2 games. It would make me really happy if he just quit throwing no-look passes. He throws them to the lady in the first row and the manager and the janitor and the guys in press row because they don't hit us. And KJ was really bad tonight. So, pretty solid.
You have to win your next 2, I think. I mean, Nebraska on the road won't be an easy one, but I think
Illinois needs to win their next 5 right now.
Well, I know their schedule to finish is tough, but you want to win at least 2 to get back, or at least one. Just win 1 to get back on track.
Well, yeah, 1 at a time, 1 game at a time. Haven't these guys played a zone in high school or AAU? I know Brad hates his zone. At least they tried it. It was actually working a few times. Then they made a 3 back to the normal DY. I think it worked the first time down, and then Gillespie hit the 3, and then Boswell decided to bring out the middle of the zone out to the point and left Reese wide open. So I think Brad said, "Screw this, we're not doing it anymore." Brad thinks that this team would have shot 97% from 3 if they would have gave him 3. So
yeah, the zone talk is great. Hinkle, are there actually people saying this? That DGL should be the primary ball. Come on. Point me to where somebody's saying that, because that is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever read. Yeah, let's take the ball out of Casper's hands and make DGL the primary. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And the guys playing AAU ball, I guarantee they're not playing zone.
Also, Casper's
I would put a lot of money on that.
For how not great Casper's was, given the expectations, he was still dropping some dimes last night.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
but it's unfortunate that he had 7 turnovers and that he struggled to shoot. He had 7 assists, though. He still stuffed 21, 7, and 7 is a great game if you don't look at the other numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, he probably was the second best player for the team last night. I mean, if you think of how bad everybody else was, I would say KJ and Boswell.
Yeah.
KJ and Boswell, and I guess maybe Merez a little bit, were like the other players that played pretty well. Because I thought White, Hummer, Riley, Booth, and Davis just weren't effective. And Booth and Davis, that's a fine game for them if you look at some of the expectations. Maybe not Davis 1 for 5 from 3, really like 2 for 5 or 3 for 5 from him. But no, there's no reason to change who the primary ball. Like Kasparis is and Boswell. Boswell's got a lot of stuff to figure out, but Kasparis, I feel very comfortable with him handling the basketball. Let's see. I mean, we could talk about what did Willard say? Gillespie took the match personally. Congrats. Like,
yeah,
great.
Yeah. Brad got asked about Kerry Booth too, and he basically said that he played really hard, and the matchups aren't there for him sometimes. And then talked about his rebounding, and he said that he got a rebound on a missed free throw, but no defensive rebounds. And he said guys that are 6'10" got to do it consistently. He was all right. So I thought that was
without KJ in the game. Okay. Yeah, you don't want DJ playing with his hair on fire. You don't want to have him handling the ball all the time.
I don't know what else we want to talk about.
Might be good. I don't know.
Disgusting. Illinois 7th in the Big Ten standings now. So
who cares?
I guess nobody.
Well, we're not. We're above that, guys. We're above caring about that.
Yeah.
Let's get ready for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. The only other thing I got is Brad not making excuses. Was asked about the free throw numbers being down, and he said, quote, "No kidding. You don't think I've called the league office about that? I have no explanation why we played the schedule we played. We were number 1 in the league playing the schedule we played. We went from first to dead last." And then he went, I've called Terry Weimer. I've called our league office. I am more than frustrated. KJ had 34 free throws in 4 SEC opponent games. He had 14 going into tonight.
I don't think Brad needs to be concerned with that. KJ had 12 free throws last night.
Well, that's why he said before tonight. Yeah. So, KJ's probably the only guy I know. I think Hinkle might have said nobody's going to the basket looking to get fouled. Brad did make a comment that Boswell needs to look to get fouled more. I think KJ's always hunting for a foul.
It's 16, by the way.
Always.
Brad lied to us. It was 16.
16 before tonight's game?
Yep. Gotcha. Now it's 28 28.
Getting tired of Brad's excuses. Your record is what it is. I don't know what else you say as a coach, though.
No.
I know it sounds like a bunch of excuses, but he's getting asked questions and he's giving an honest answer to them. I don't consider them excuses.
I'm probably a couple steps ahead of most of the people in the chat right now on this, but let's consider this. 2023, the 2022-23 season, right? Terrence Shannon, the big man on campus, his first year is in Illini, first year of 2. Matthew Meyer coming in from Baylor, he's an energy guy, won a national championship, he can shoot, whatever. A couple other guys back with the club. They lose to Penn State, right? They get killed by Penn State at home. And that was in December. And if you look at what Brad said then, they lost that game by 15, got run out of the gym, scored 59 points. Brad essentially just shit all over that team and talked about how there's no leadership. I think when Brad knows he has a good team and likes the team he has, he's not going to go into the press and just shit all over them. And he didn't do that in this game. I think it makes sense. He hasn't done it in any of the games they lost. I think he likes this team. I don't think he loved the team from a couple of years ago that was a one and done in the tournament. So I don't think that we should want him to go in there and just be like, yeah, Boswell sucks. No leadership on this team. These guys suck. I mean, come on. What do they expect?
I mean, he did take a couple shots at players.
Which that's different. That's not taking everything into account and making a bold statement about the team.
Yeah.
Which is basically what he did about the leadership thing after that Penn State loss by 15. So I have no problem with it. I think we should all still like this team and believe in this team. I don't understand why people like. What could they have done in the offseason that would make them better than they are right now?
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe
I said,
Jeremiah Fears over Boswell, but that's not fair because you really want 2 freshman guards. It doesn't make sense.
I guess the biggest thing is what I'm worried about the most is if KJ gets re-injured or Tommy goes down with an injury, like this team's done. They're dead. That's my biggest concern.
Let's not talk negative.
I did see Warner asked if KJ's wrist was affecting his shooting.
He's been shooting mostly fine.
It says, yeah, he was not good from 3 this game,
but like his first game back, he shot 3 for 7 from 3.
It's his offhand, so I don't think that it's probably affecting him very much.
I think he's just kind of a little bit of a streaky 3-point shooter, which is fine. He's 18 years old. He's still shooting 38% from 3, and obviously 0 for 6 the last 2 games. Can only go up from there. Can only go up.
Yep. I got to start defending home court. So
that's the worst part. Before we shouldn't have said that. I forgot to say anything, but before we get to the next game, like, holy shit. You talk about Illinois has no home court advantage in any way at all. I mean, that place is fucking dead if the other team's leading by 5 or more.
Yeah.
Just dead. And I'm so goddamn sick and tired of this stupid fucking Nuggets thing. Jesus Christ. I mean, grow up. Who cares? It's enough.
They're poor college kids that go to U of I.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a fucking break. What a joke.
I feel bad for like the 5 Orange Crush guys that are like there and they're trying to get people up. And like the rest of the Orange Crush just stands there while 5 guys are jumping up and down trying to get everybody going.
It's constructive. I feel bad criticism. For them. Like the Orange Crush needs to be criticized for this stuff. Nobody else in this space, not one other person in the Illini, Twitter, or podcasting space has ever said a bad word about the Orange Crush.
The Orange Crush is back tonight, is all I saw. See what's coming.
I need them to be better. And it's been like this for years. And they can't handle the criticism, I guess. Because obviously that one guy, in the DMs was bitching about, like, this generation seems soft to me. I don't know what to say. Seems soft. If I was there, I would be leading the charge. I will lead the charge. If the Orange Crush wants to sneak me into the student section, I will lead the charge. Because that place needs to be rocking from when the ball gets tipped to when the final buzzer sounds at the end of the second half. I don't give a fuck what the score is. If you're going to be there, you got to bring the energy. And obviously this team needs it because they have a tendency to sleepwalk at home. We've seen it in their 2 home losses in Big Ten play against USC and Maryland. They were sleepwalking. The team had no juice. And obviously Maryland was really putting them down in terms of Illinois got it within 3, and then Maryland makes a couple big plays, makes a run, and then Illinois has a really dumb turnover. I understand it's hard to stay into the game the entire time, but you have to. That's what you were there to do. So I thought the Orange Crush was a little bit disappointing last night, but it's the way it's got to be sometimes, I guess. What can you say? I've been trying for 3 years to get them back, get them ready, energized, and, into the game the entire game, and not be cheering for chicken nuggets when a player on the other team misses 2 free throws in a row. So got to be better. I expect better. They better fucking bring it on Sunday, or I am going to start a war with them. And I don't want to do that
before.
I don't want to do it again. I don't think I need to do it again. I think it's a bad look for the program if I have to do it. But I don't see how anybody can watch these games and be like, oh, this place is rocking. Like, the only game where I would give them any credit this year is probably the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Because it seems like those Saturday afternoon spots against top 10 opponents at home, whether it was Arizona a few years ago or Tennessee or maybe a Purdue game here and there, there's not enough juice.
Yeah.
And I understand they weren't there for the USC game, but the USC game was another game where the team was sleepwalking and the crowd was lifeless. And then this game, not good enough. Not good enough at all. And if anybody's out there like, oh, it's the Orange Crush, they're fine. Fuck that. Fuck that way of thinking. That's bullshit.
Yeah, and like Purdue, the people were mad about the paint crew or whatever that last game that they lost, but like them bad is 100 times better than Orange Crush good. So About the crowd, we were occasionally loud, like missed calls. I screamed for the refs to go fix themselves, and I had children 3 feet away.
Hard for the crowd to get no, bullshit. Bullshit.
Early though, like they weren't even in it early.
It was 7-2, and the place was fucking dead. I call bullshit. I don't want to hear any excuse in the Orange Crush. They're all college kids. They're way younger than we are. We're
Get
old.
drunk and act like idiots. All right.
This generation, I mean, Jesus Christ. If you're there, you need to be jumping up and down the entire. That'll burn a ton of calories. All the calories you're drinking, they'll be gone if you're jumping up and down and screaming the whole fucking game. Where the hell's that at? Oh, the 2-point game. Oh, yeah, not good enough.
I got 16 minutes. We got to keep moving.
Got to be better on Sunday. Illinois Northwestern. Illinois is going to be unranked if they lose this game, and I don't care. The rankings do not matter. I don't care. 13-6, 5-4 overall in the Big Ten. Northwestern 12-7, 3-5 in the Big Ten game. Sunday, 2:00. Big Ten Network. Northwestern 2-4 in their last 6 games. The Illinois, of course, lost them December 6th at Northwestern in overtime. Illinois has dropped 3 of 4. Important to note. Their projected lineup is Martinelli, Nicholson, Sierravino, Leach, and Barnheiser. As I've said this entire time with this Northwestern team, there's really only 2 or 3 guys that score. They need more guys to step up. You look at the Michigan game, they didn't have enough guys score. They're coming off a win over Indiana. They won 79-70. And once again, 4 guys scored. Barnheiser had 21, Leach had 15, Martinelli had 18, Nicholson did not score, Sierravino had 2, and Barry had 23. So
Barry played 32 minutes and went 7 of 10 from 3 that game. Barnheiser, had a dunk at the end of the game, broke his nose or something, maybe concussed. I don't know if he will play in this game, but we'll see.
Some numbers. Adjusted offensive efficiency, Northwestern is 82nd, Illinois 28th. Northwestern also 309th in 3-point distribution. Illinois is 26th. So Illinois, obviously a team that relies on the 3 a lot more than maybe they should with how they're shooting. As we've said earlier, Illinois is not even shooting 30% in conference play. They're shooting 29.4, which is second to last in the league. The only team worse than them from 3 in conference play is
ILL.
That's not what I was saying.
Northwestern. I wasn't listening. Sorry, I was reading chat.
The only team in the Big Ten that is worse from 3
than Illinois?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Washington.
Great answer. That's correct. 0.3 worse. They shoot 29.1, Illinois 29.4. You nailed the first answer. Northwestern's 15th. They're shooting 30.8. Okay. Illinois shot 26% from 3 against Northwestern. In the first matchup, they were 9 of 34. Important to note, Northwestern has broken 90 points. How many times, folks?
0.
1 time. Their first game of the year against Lehigh, they scored over 90 points. Illinois has done it 8 times. So clearly Illinois' offense is better, and it needs to play better in this game. Remember, Illinois led the first game 46-36 with 9:34 to go in the second half. So that was tough. KJ made some huge shots in this game, and they lost late. And what can you do? Martinelli had 27, 6, and 1. Rebounding was 44-44. Northwestern 10-7 on the offensive glass. Got to be better there. KenPom has Illinois as a 10-point better team in this game for what that's worth. And then I think your lineup in this game without Tomislav, which I'm assuming he's not going to play, is going to be the same as last game. You're going to have KJ, Boswell, White, Hummer, and Merez, I'm assuming. Got to have a better plan for Martinelli and Barnheiser in this game. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, again, Barnheiser, I don't know what's going on with him, if he'll be back for the game. But, yeah, you got to figure out a way to shut those 2 down.
Good point by Hinkle, and if anybody can relay that word to Brad and the staff, that'd be good. He said Brad's going to let Martinelli hang 90 on us as long as it means Leach doesn't make a 3. We need to relay that to the staff. You gotta figure out a better way to, win all the matchups. And I do think Illinois right now this isn't a bad matchup for them. This is a fine matchup. They should be fine. They should be able to win this game, and that's why
without Tommy.
Yes, that's why my players of the game are Kasparis and Jalen Leach. I think Leach in this, you look at, offensively, he's a guy they're going to need. They don't have enough guys that score. I think I've laid that out a little bit. Obviously, he's played – this is his 5th year of college basketball. He played at Fairfield. He's got 34 points last 2 games, struggled against Maryland, but had 17 against Michigan State, 11 against Purdue. And he's also a guy who is a threat from 3, no doubt, 36%. And he shot 36% the last 2 seasons. So he's kept it pretty consistent. And obviously, Kasparis, you need him to just play really well. That's all you need. You need like a 25.6 rebound, 8 assists, like just a really good game where he's efficient.
Yeah, I think we both had the same idea for Illinois. I mean, the guards have to play better. They got to, handle the ball better, take care of the ball better. That's going to be a huge, part of this game. And then I went with Martinelli. You just got to shut him down. You got to be able to do something to slow him down. And if Barnheiser's not in, Ty Berry went off. Hopefully Ty Berry hasn't figured something out, because he was 0 for 3, I think, from 3 in the first matchup. 0 for 2, didn't have any points against Illinois. And then he's I think we literally talked about Ty Berry on the last episode and how he hasn't been playing well. And then he goes 7 for 10 from 3. So, guard play from Illinois is going to be crucial in this. We'll see if Tommy's playing. We'll see if Barnheiser's playing. But outcome, the same for me no matter what. Illinois is going to win this game. It's one that you have to win at this point to prove that this team isn't just trash and we're all wasting our time watching them. Illinois wins by 8, 76-68.
I'm going to take Illinois 75-70. It's worth noting that Illinois only dropped 2 spots on KenPom and 1 spot on the net.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Texas Tech has now overtaken Illinois for the number 10 spot in the KenPom metrics.
Maryland is like a top 25 net team, though. It's not like Maryland sucks. Like everybody's acting like Maryland's awful. I know Illinois lost by 20. And
you're the one who said it'd be a bad loss.
Brutal.
I didn't fully agree with that.
But it's a bad loss, especially by 20 at home. My bad loss was saying that my bad loss was Illinois was a favorite. Illinois fans are ridiculous, and they've been shit talking Michigan State all week, and I just knew what it was going to bring.
I would say it seems like you're too worried about Michigan State fans. I haven't seen anything about Michigan State fans on Twitter.
No, I'm just like I get annoyed. It's not.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I don't think this is not that far past the neutral part of a bad loss, though, with the injuries and the sickness, whatever. Yeah. And Maryland's good, and Maryland has a specific thing that they do that kill Illinois. I don't think that makes it. I think it's a bad loss, but I don't think it's like USC loss is way worse to me, even though you lost by 20.
Yeah, the 20 points was tough. This Maryland team was picked to be top 5, I think, by most people in the Big Ten. So they had a terrible non-conference, but they're a good team if they can figure it. They're kind of like Illinois. If Illinois can get this all figured out, Illinois is a really good team. Maryland can be a really good team.
The Big Ten is almost entirely like based on your schedule now.
It is.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But, yeah. All right. Around the Big Ten in college basketball tonight, big games: Michigan, Purdue, Penn State, Iowa, and then a matchup between UCLA and Washington.
Yeah.
Houston, Kansas tomorrow night. That's a big one. And then Ole Miss, Mizzou, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Texas, Tennessee, Auburn, UConn, Xavier, Baylor, Utah, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Michigan State, Rutgers, and Iowa State, Arizona State. Some big games there. I didn't look at the Sunday schedule. That's on me, but what can you do? And then
I'm sure they're playing basketball on Sunday.
I just found this interesting. So KenPom has a matchup predictor for every game. So however, projected, Illinois is projected to beat Northwestern 77-67. So if you look at, and we're just going to act like it's a point spread. It's not. We're going to act like it is. Duke, the remaining games, Duke has, KenPom has Duke better than Wake Forest by 13, NC State 22 points better, UNC 16 points better, Syracuse 19 points better, at Clemson 6 points better, home against Cal 24 points, Stanford 20, Virginia at Virginia 16. They have them 8 points better than Illinois in a neutral court. At Miami 23 points better, Florida State 20 points better, Wake Forest 20 points better, at North Carolina 9. But I don't know if I've ever seen that. I don't know if I've ever seen a team with however many games they have left, whatever I listed, they're like 13 games left, and they're that big of a favorite in every game remaining.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen something like that. So they should probably, I mean, based on that, Duke should obviously end up 29-2 going into the ACC tournament. It's crazy. It says a lot about how bad the ACC is. And I tweeted Miami was down 21-3 against Stanford. I mean, Miami is brutal. They ended up losing the game by only 37, so they got it back. But
Miami made the Elite Eight 2 years ago, Final Four 2 years ago. What? I mean,
Final Four, and it was like 3 years ago. Or yeah, I got no 2 years. Yeah, I guess it was the 23.
Tommy is the most important player we have. Everything kind of flows through his game. Yeah, he just is a different kind of big. I mean, he's one that can stretch the floor. He's one that can pass. He's probably one of the best passers on the team between him and Kasparis. The things that you can do with him on the court rather than Merez, who's just a typical 5, is irreplaceable, I would say. Maybe when Jaxtis is playing next year, but
yeah. All right, well, that's enough. We've all seen enough. Are we doing a watch party Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be back Sunday afternoon for Illinois Northwestern.
By the way, Ethan, 7 for 10 halftime show last night.
We'll be back Sunday.
You might be the reason we lost.
It was tough conditions. After I made like the first 4, the wind started to kind of blow in my face a little bit, and it's tough. I'll be better. I'll record another one for Sunday.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. We appreciate you.
Yep, we'll be back Sunday. Goodbye.